Good morning. It's so good to be here with you. Stuart was asking me why I'm here, and what I told him was Maya. She and I are good friends, and she is why I'm here. She's also a family friend, which is wonderful. Good friend of my son. So thank you so much for having me. I need to do a little introduction. If you've read your newsletter, you know that our UUs are a major sponsor for bringing in Gavin Penny, who is a British scientist and also a cloud enthusiast. He'll be coming to Grand Junction, and you are also sponsoring a children's program with him Friday night, October 6th. So thank you, UUs. I see a lot of puzzled faces, like, we are, really? So, but I'm going to do a quote from Gavin. So I have to say, he is the most, gosh, the word luscious comes to mind. He probably would go, what? But if you see him on YouTube, he is sort of internationally famous as a cloud guy, and very personable, and brings his science knowledge with the philosophy of cloud watching. He calls it in Britain cloud spotting. Can anyone else with a better British accent say cloud spotting? Anyway, here is what he said, and he is very much an inspiration to me. Gavin Penny describes, our atmosphere is like an ocean, not an ocean of water, but an ocean of fluid air. Waves pass through the air just like the waves in the oceans below. Most of the time, the wave-like movements in our atmosphere are invisible. They roll unnoticed between different air masses, rising and sinking when wind speeds increase with altitude. The waves of air lurk downwind of mountain ranges, hovering unseen in the rocky peaks. Unseen, that is, unless clouds are present. Clouds make the movements of the air visible. Hi. This has such meaning to me. Years and years ago, we listened to New Dimensions on the KVNF Paonia radio station on Sunday mornings, and it was years ago, and I'm sorry I don't remember his name. I'm not giving him justice, but he was a yogi trying to help people understand that there are so many ways to do meditation and yoga, and it was very meaningful to me because it was at the same time I became a member of Gavin's Cloud Appreciation Society. That synchronicity sometimes is really amazing. But the yogi said that disciplined yoga was really impossible for him. The crossed legs, the straight back, the head like it's a string. I remember trying to meditate that way when I was young, and he was saying that his body just rebelled against that, and that it took another one of his mentors to say, really, all you have to do yoga and to meditate is to look up. If you spend time looking up at the clouds and watching that movie in the sky that goes across from rim to rim of where we're able to see, that you are doing yoga, you are meditating. So today I will be talking about the importance of clouds.
Thank you, Melody. This community of care is created through our work and our time together, our commitment to one another. This is our covenant, to walk together in loving fellowship, to share our hopes and our values. As we pass these baskets, we thank you for your generous gifts, which support the work of this religious community and Unitarian Universalism in the world at large. As a reflection of our values, we are pleased to participate in the Change for Change program. The coins you place in the basket today will support the work of nonprofits in and around the Grand Valley. So with gratitude, we will now receive today's offering.
Bows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, and now they only block the sun, the rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's clouds' illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way you feel, dreams in fairy tales unreal. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. You leave them laughing as you go, and if you care, don't let them know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's love's illusions I recall. I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. So dreams and schemes and circus crowds, I've looked at life that way, but now old friends are acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed, but something's lost, but something's gained in living every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all.
This congregation is a community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to its life, we affirm our lives within it. Let us sing together hymn number 128 in the gray hymnal, For All That Is Our Life.
Okay, I'm on. Is this on? No, you need to turn it on. I bet I can figure that out. On the bottom. A? All right. So glad to be here. I know a few faces. I don't know if it's on. Let me try again. How about now? Yeah. Yes. Now I can even tell it's on. All right. You know, I'm kind of hoping to speak from the heart, but I need my notes to keep me on track. I'm going to start. Julia Gregson, in her novel 2009, East of the Sun, was about India in the 1920s. Whew, I mean, that's quite a topic, and really it's a brave read. I have a hard time with humanity doing not good things to humanity, but she said in her book, when we look up, it widens our horizons. We see what a little speck we are in the universe, so insignificant, and we all take ourselves so seriously. But in the sky, there are no boundaries, no differences of caste or religion or race. And now we can say no gender identification, no, just loving each other and taking advantage of each other's talents has become my mantra. So I come from a generation of cloud watchers, and I kind of want to ask you, did your parents or grandparents ever help you see things in the sky? I was watching the kids, and some of you totally saw, yeah. Would anyone like to tell a story about that? Because, oh.
If so, actually, if you're going to do that, you need to give them the microphone. No, they can't hear you on Zoom, though. So you need to use the microphone.
I don't go down very well.
But it was a Peanuts cartoon, and Charlie Brown asked Linus what he saw in the clouds. And I see Napoleon's army at the Battle of Auschwitz, which is the one he won. And Charlie Brown goes, I was going to say I saw a ducky and a horsey.
Did anyone else have something you wanted to share about a grandparent or a parent or an aunt or a cousin or a friend?
My mother had a lot of problems, and I didn't have very good times with her. But one of the times that was good is we were looking at the sunset. And she said that after she died, when I saw a pink cloud, she would be hanging by her feet, waving at me, hello.
That's wonderful. And from a troubled relationship, that's quite the gift at the end there.
I had a friend who was traveling to see me from North Dakota on a bus, and she ended up talking to this guy that was sitting next to her. And they're looking out the window at the clouds, and he's like, oh, look at those clouds. You can see so many pictures in them. And he came up with things like a ducky and a horsey kind of thing. And she was this beautiful, young, 19-year-old woman. And she looks at him, and she goes, well, look up there. That's a Sherman tank.
Yeah, very Snoopy, it sounds like. Yeah, yeah.
We lived in Nebraska for 4 years, and I'm not a fan of flat country, but you haven't seen clouds until you've lived in the Midwest. And these incredible towering summer thunderstorm clouds, best viewed from a distance. And if everything's great, it's they catch the evening sunlight, and you can see they tower up to where the stratosphere flattens them off at the top. And we spent many a nights in the basement because it sounded like artillery going off next door. The thunderstorms are incredibly violent out there. But we, here in the Rocky Mountains, we really don't know clouds.
Hey, a native Coloradoan, how dare you?
So one day we were driving from Alyeska back to Anchorage, Alaska one morning, early. And my husband said, see that cloud over there? Yeah?
It's dark out, by the way.
It's pitch black. It's wintertime in Alaska. There is no light anywhere. He says, see that cloud right there? Watch it. And as I watched it, the entire sky lit up in the northern lights. And the northern lights are in motion. They are not still like you see them in pictures. And it looked like God playing the piano in the sky. It was absolutely spectacularly brilliant.
My father was a firefighter. He was a smoke jumper. And when I was little, he would show us the clouds, point out the clouds. He'd say, those are scout clouds. You watch, in a couple of hours, we'll have a big thunderstorm. Pretty soon, the big thunder clouds would roll in, and they'd start lighting up, and the thunder would start booming. And he'd say, hey, kids, you know what that is? Overtime.
Great. Oh, you've done so much better than my stories. I love that my mother learned from her mother, who learned from her mother. So I know at least 3 generations, I guess I'm the 4th, who have shown children the clouds and the wonder of the clouds. My mom used cloud watching when I was a 5-year-old in the car, very restless and snotty, and helping me see things in the clouds. So she learned to use it sort of as a milder discipline instead of, shut up! She could see things in rocks also, and I'm sure some of you have seen things in rocks. There are some poets. one thing that when I was kind of researching clouds and people inspired by clouds, is I found so many poets from way, way back, and even 1300s and 1200s and 1100s, but their language, all I could understand was the word cloud. So I'm bringing us up to date. 1819, Samuel Taylor Coleridge was one of the famous poets in Britain, about the same time as William Wordsworth. And I had never heard of Samuel Taylor. He wrote this in 1819. It's called The Poet in the Clouds. Oh, it is pleasant with a heart at ease, just after sunset or by moonlight skies, to make shifting clouds be what you please. And then Sir John Lubbock, who is another Briton, who was a friend of Charles Darwin. He was a banker, an anthropologist, and an archaeologist. I think the guy was very busy. He did a lot of the first studies in anthropology at the time. And this was in 1887. I know, it's so cool. The pleasures of life. Rest is not idleness, and to lie sometimes on the grass under trees on a summer's day, listening to the murmur of the water or watching the clouds float across the sky is by no means a waste of time. So as a member of the Cloud Appreciation Society, I'm a very proud member, I don't really pay much attention to names of clouds anymore. When I first became a member, I was fascinated, and you were talking about the anvil shape that happens when you hit the top of the atmosphere. The first thing I learned through the Cloud Appreciation Society is just like fish in water. This is our water, and it goes, I mean, you know, we breathe and we take full advantage of being able to breathe, but I rarely think of our whole atmosphere, including at the very top. In fact, that kind of scares me. Maya put in some beautiful photos of the Hubble, what the Hubble has shown us, and the latest telescope, whose name I can't remember. Thank you. Good. Thank you. I don't get it. I mean, my imagination is not able to get that. I see those photos as just gorgeous art. To be honest, the clouds are about what I can imagine. The moon is even that disk in the sky. In fact, if I had been born multiple years ago, I totally would have believed that God was up in the clouds, looking down on us, passing judgment, and shooting lightning at us. I mean, but I do have a background somewhat in science, and so, you know, intellectually, I get it. But emotionally, it's hard for me to imagine anything beyond our clouds. The moon is just that gorgeous disk in the sky. I don't know who put it there or how, you know. It's kind of pitiful, really. But the things that I've learned, and these are amazing facts to me, I've just chosen a couple. Gavin has put it in some of his books. He's a wonderful writer. And the thing that, some of the things that he has talked about is those big boomers that we have been seeing. There were 2 nights of just constant lightning. I don't know where you live, but constant lightning going across, lightning coming down. And the lightning looked wider to me than what I was used to. Those clouds have the energy of 10 atom bombs in them. And I'm kind of going, I don't know what, you know, it makes me breathe heavily. That amazes me. And our normal clouds, when we have those beautiful white puffy clouds that they've crystallized, and that's how we can see them. If they were just water, we would not be able to see them, right, if they were just water droplets. But a lot of them have crystallized because they're up high. They have the water weight of 6 elephants. And to me, this is the scientist talking when Gavin talks, but more than these things, he really loves the philosophy of cloud watching, just like our yogi who I talked about. He is really interested in how looking at clouds relax us and what a mental health break it is for us. And this is his main love right now, is helping teachers and adults help their children by simply looking up and spending some time. And I have to say, since appreciating clouds, I've had a lot more ahas that feel like they don't come from me. They feel like they come from either the better me or from, I'm a Quaker, so I would say the light, that I have received something from the light. And it's not what my brain is thinking at the time, so it's definitely something. And these are the things that make me believe in a higher being, a God. These moments, and don't you wish you could walk around with those and rely on those every minute you need them? You know, we are so human sometimes. We are so damn human. What can I say? So, wonderful. Oh, I have to tell you, I'm glad I made notes because some of the memorable clouds I've seen, and you've probably seen these. Now, tell me if this comes to you in Nebraska, I want to know. Crossing the mountains was amazing one day. There was iridescence. The clouds looked like opals. Has anyone else seen that effect where you just go, whoa? I mean, and it doesn't last but just a few minutes. Sometimes it can kind of go in waves too, but that was the only time I've seen that, except iridescence around the moon or occasional sundogs, right? But another one that I saw, I was up in the mountains behind Pikes Peak area, and there weren't very many clouds in the sky. There was just this little guy who was kind of like this, and then suddenly he became a horseshoe, and it was probably a huge cloud, right? Way up in the sky. But it suddenly became a horseshoe and then turned into a piggy tail and disappeared. And I'm standing there going, no one else is here with me. Did I see that, or was it a imagined thing, you know? And another, I learned later in my cloud books that is called a horseshoe vortex cloud. And it's a bloomin' miracle that I'm remembering that talking to you. Something magical is going on. And another cloud experience I had was there were lots of thunder clouds and dark clouds. And this time I was in Denver and looking west. So there were lots of clouds over our Rocky Mountains, but there was this white cloud kind of in front of it all, and it had very soft edges, you know. Usually clouds look like they're having a bad air day, or they look like cotton balls, or you know, all the descriptions we can have of them. But this one was very smooth, and I know there's a name for that. Gavin would know instantly, I don't remember. But all of a sudden, the center dropped out of it, and there was a hole like a donut in the cloud. And as fast as it dropped down, it disappeared, and then the hole closed up. And again, I was by myself going, okay, this is really spooky. I have no idea if that really happened. You know, as I get older, I'm saying a lot, or did I make that up? You know, it's getting a little milkier, telling stories about my kids. They kind of look at me, okay, or did I make that up? So it can be very magical. I wish I could remember the name of that cloud. That actually is, if a cloud is kind of lower and the center is still crystallized, but the rest of the cloud is kind of becoming more watery. And if the wind is right, it will push those crystals down and leave the donut hole effect. And I'm going, do I really care about that? Maybe I really don't care about that. Do we care about that? Some of you probably care about that. But so there are those moments where it's like, whoa, isn't our planet extraordinary? Isn't it just, there's research going on right now, I understand, that is trying to compare the waves in the ocean with the waves in the atmosphere. And sometimes they match. That's way beyond my ability to imagine. Some of you who have more scientific minds, or I'm definitely more the philosopher, but wow. Our world is amazing. So a little poem from Robert Frost. It's called Lost in Heaven. The clouds, the source of rain, one stormy night offered an opening to the source of dew, which I accepted with impatient sight, looking for my old sky marks in the blue. But stars were scarce in that part of sky, and no two were of the same constellation. No one was bright enough to identify, so 'twas with not ungrateful consternation, seeing myself well lost once more, I sighed. Where in heaven am I? But don't tell me, oh, opening clouds, by opening on me wide, let's let my heavenly lostness overwhelm me. And then, last but not least, Mark Twain. I adore Mark Twain. What a great sense of humor. And I can't think of the word. Someone help me. Quite the, when you have great humor about how things, say it again? There you go. Perfect. He was able to make fun of everything, right? Yeah, he was pretty good at that. And he said, the air up there in the clouds is very pure and fine, bracing and delicious. And why shouldn't it be? It is the same the angels breathe. I didn't know he could be so sentimental. Thank you so much. And we have a little bit of time, I think, if anyone would like to share anything else. Have you ever had an inspiring cloud experience? You have to look up a lot to see some of this stuff. The two I saw, I read in Gavin's book, are a little more rare. So you could be spending a lot of idle time. Not idle, there you go, not idle.
That night that we had all the thunderstorm, someone on Nextdoor filmed it, had 2.5 minutes of all the lightning, and one of the strikes of lightning came up from the ground. I've heard of it happening, but it was amazing, and the person had asked if they knew what it was called. I don't know what it's called, but I saw it.
Any scientists who like that kind of thing?
Less of a story, I suppose, but I was around for that lightning storm, and I was in Lincoln Park at the time, and I happened to have a drone, and surprisingly, I was able to get most of the storm coming in, I guess near National Monument, before it started coming up towards the park. It started blowing my drone away. but I got probably half an hour's worth, and I also got some slow motion stuff. So I don't know if that's, since we have some cloud appreciators here, I could upload that or something if somebody wants to see that if they missed it.
Yeah, if you want to send that to us, that would be great.
All right, well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Melody.
It's been amazing to come because Val is also a good friend of mine. So to have Val and Maya here, it's like, whoa! You do good people here.
Let us sing together. In your gray hymnal, number 131, Love Will Guide Us. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitments. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.